Hello everybody and welcome back to Shelf Indulgent. My name's Devin and today I have my very first book haul video for you guys. I am super excited for this video and I know you guys love a haul, so I will get right into it. These are all the books that I purchased in January and I have a total of 10 books for you guys. That's 5 nonfiction and 5 fiction, so it's a very even split. The first book is actually a classic, and that is Robert Louis Stevenson's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I bought this book specifically because there is another book I want to read that takes several characters from different classics and kind of turns them on their head or changes things about them. That book is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. The only book referenced in The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter that I have actually read is Frankenstein, and I happened to see this one on Book Outlet for super cheap, so I picked it up so I could do my homework before reading this one. The next book that I'll mention in my haul is a nonfiction, and that is You're Never Weird on the Internet, Almost. This is written by Felicia Day. This is her memoir. For those of you who don't know, Felicia Day is a super geeky writer and actress and podcast creator and just a geek queen. I also found out that Felicia Day is born and raised in Alabama, which I can very much relate to. So I thought it'd be great to just pick up her memoir and learn a little more about her. The next book that I have is a little confusing. This is called Rag and Bones. It's New Twists on Timeless Tales. I do not know if this is a young adult book or an adult book. I'm a little confused because it has authors like Kelly Armstrong and Holly Black, who I'm pretty sure are young adult authors. But then Gene Wolfe has a story in this collection, and I don't think he writes young adult. So I'm a little confused, but I'm very excited because even if it is young adult, that's not a genre that I read very frequently. So it would be a nice introduction, I think, to kind of read a lot of different young adult authors and see if there's any that I really love. The next book I'll mention is Lab Girl by Hope Jahren. This is a memoir, again, about a geobiologist. I found this one for a deal. I've heard amazing things about this book, and I always love reading about women in science and technology. So I had to pick this one up. Next up is Boy Snow Bird by Helen Oyeyemi. This is a loose retelling of Snow White. Helen Oyeyemi is one of those authors that I've always heard so much about, and I hear people rave about her, but I've never read anything by her. So I thought this would be a great introduction, and y'all know I love some fairy tale retellings, so I'm excited for this one. Speaking of fairy tale retellings, I also have All the Ever Afters by Danielle. This is a retelling of Cinderella, but it is told through the wicked stepmother's perspective. So I think this one could be super fun. I've heard great things, so I thought I'd pick it up. The next book that I have for you guys is How Does It Feel to Be a Problem? Being Young and Arab in America by Moustafa Bayoumi. It says on the back of this one, the stories of 7 young Arab and Muslim Americans who are forging lives for themselves in a country that often mistakes them for the enemy. I feel like this one is a little challenging to talk about because it's not something I want to say I'm excited to read. This is going to be a challenging read, but I think we all learn invaluable lessons when we challenge ourselves to read books written by authors who do not share our experience and truly listen to marginalized people. So I feel like this is going to be a very important read for me. Along those same lines, but with a very different tone, we have One Day We'll All Be Dead and None of This Will Matter by Scaachi Koul. I am super excited for this one. While it does cover heavy topics like racism and sexism, this is done in a very sharp way. To prep for filming this video, I actually watched an interview of Scaachi Koul talking about this book, and she is so articulate and so witty and so sharp, and I absolutely adore her. I think this one might make its way to the top of my TBR. I'm real excited for this. Next up, we have Cotta Warrior by Nnedi Okorafor. This is the sequel to Nnedi Okorafor's Akata Witch, which I actually have not read. It is on my TBR behind me currently. But if I love it as much as I loved all of Nnedi Okorafor's other stuff, I'm going to need the second book immediately. So I went ahead and picked it up. The last book in this haul is Shrill by Lindy West. Lindy West is a writer, comedian, and actress, and this is her memoir. In this memoir, she obviously discusses her experiences, but she covers a number of topics from politics, feminism, sexism, and fat shaming, but she does this with humor. There's also going to be a television adaptation of this book later this year on Hulu, I believe, so I need to go ahead and get to this one pretty quickly before that comes out. So those are all the books that I bought in January. I will give you guys fair warning. This is going to be my last book haul for a while. I have a huge local book sale coming up in March, and so I'm trying not to buy any books until then. So if you see a book haul on this video from now until March 23rd, you have to stop me. You have to yell at me. I cannot buy any more books, guys. As always, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye!